Question number 1. Do you have any preference of scanning position when you are doing upper and lower arch scanning?
That's a good question, and that really comes into almost personal preference. So I actually stand when I do all my dentistry. I know that might be a little bit crazy, but something that I've kind of just gotten used to. So when I am scanning or doing any dentistry, really, I'm always at the 10 to 11 o'clock. 10 to 11 o'clock position is where I usually stand. When I'm scanning, I'm also at that position. Even for the lower arch, which I know some people say you can stand more like 7 o'clock in front of the patient to scan. I personally don't find that useful. I usually stick around 10 to 11 o'clock, and that's how I do all my scanning.
That means even if for upper and lower, you stay with the same position, right?
Always the same position. And more importantly, about positioning that I really want you guys to conceptualize is I've seen some dentists where they don't get a scanner cart and they have their laptop on their desk or something like that. And ergonomically, that's a terrible position. You know, you're looking over your shoulder to scan. I really suggest everyone gets a scanner cart and you make sure that your scanner is, if you're at the 10 to 11 o'clock position, your DA should be about 2 to 3 o'clock and your scanner cart is 1 o'clock, so right in front of you. So that's really the position I like to be in, staring at the scanner cart, staring at my scan image while I'm scanning.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for answering that. So question number 2, is there any specific case that you take conventional impression instead of digital scanning?
Great question, and it's like I mentioned in the indications part, there's only one time I would do that, and that is for a completely edentulous patient, and that is purely to get a functional impression, and that's if I was going straight to a final denture. If I was going to make them a temporary denture, I would be more than happy to just scan them and make something that's a bit looser fitting. But 9 times out of 10, if I'm seeing a completely edentulous patient, I will take a traditional impression and then scan that impression and send it to the lab. Otherwise, I do not take physical impressions for any other indication in my practice, including full arch, implant restorations, including implant bridges. Everything is scanned.
Okay. Okay, question number 3. I'm a new user and trying to use Medit apps. Which apps do you find the most useful and which app do you utilize the most in your clinic?
I would say, I mean, to be honest, the most useful is Medit Model Builder by far. I think that is probably one of the best model builders on the entire market. But that's really only useful for you if you're doing something in-house, if you're going to print. If you don't have a printer, a Medit Model Builder isn't that useful for you. I would say if you're just wanting a communication tool, I would get very comfortable using the Orthodontic Simulator and Smile Design. Those are 2 very powerful apps if you train and learn how to use them properly. Otherwise, one really exciting app is Medit Clinic CAD, and I really am excited about this app, especially regarding what it may do to in-house production and that whole dynamic. A free CAD software is incredible to think about.
Okay, so last question, number 4. Can you explain more in detail about AI about matching function in Medit?
Of course. So the AI abutment matching feature is a feature in the Medit software where, let's say you have an implant that you want to restore. Typically, you're going to screw in a scan body. I know some people still do abutment level scans and scan an abutment, but most of us are using scan bodies. So let's say you screw in a scan body and you scan it. When you send this to the lab has a digital library of that scan body, basically a digital scan body, and they will match it to your scan. That is basically the lab side of making an implant restoration. It's kind of like the digital analog. So what the Medit software enables you to do is import that library into the software. And where do you get that library? From the implant companies. And when you import that library into the software, when you're scanning, it will automatically tell you if it's been able to, join the digital analog to your scan. And what that allows you to do is basically get verification that you've scanned the scan body correctly and there's enough data for your lab. That's how it works. And it's an excellent feature. Not mandatory. I personally don't use it because in my experience, I've done this many, many times. I just scan the scan body and I know when I've got enough data, which basically means I capture everything. But if you want to have that extra level of verification, it's an amazing tool.
Okay, thank you for easy explanation.
My pleasure.
Okay, that's all about it for today. Thank you for being here, Dr. Ahmad.
Thank you, Jenny. See you later. See you guys.
Thank you.